So you've decided you want a fractional CMO. Smart move. But now comes the part that nobody really explains. How do you actually hire one? And once they're in, how does the whole thing even work? Get this process right and you land a senior leader who transforms your marketing. Get it wrong and you've wasted months and a lot of money on a bad fit. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the whole process, where to find them, how to vet them, and how to structure the engagement, and how it works once it's underway. Let's get into it. Step one, where to find them, because this is what trips people up immediately. Your instinct might be post a job listing the way you would for a full-time role. Don't. The best fractional CMOs aren't browsing job boards. They're running a business, and they're usually found through other channels. The single best source is referrals from people near your marketing problem, your other fractional executives. If you have a fractional CFO, ask them. Ask your investors, fellow founders, agency partners. The fractional world runs on warm introductions, so ask the people in your orbit who they trust. Beyond referrals, there are vetted fractional marketplaces and networks that exist specifically to match companies with fractional executives. These do a layer of screening for you. And LinkedIn is useful, not for posting a job, but for searching. Look for people who describe themselves as a fractional CMO, then check whether they have a clear niche, real proof, and not just the title. The pattern to remember, you're not posting a vacancy and waiting. You're sourcing a senior partner through trusted channels. Here's a concrete way to start today. Message 3 people in your network, an investor, a fellow founder, and an advisor with one line. I'm looking for a fractional CMO who's done demand generation for a company like mine. Who's the best person you know? Specific will get you specific names. Vague? That's just going to get you silence. Step 2, how to vet them. Where most of the value is because the title, fractional CMO, is unregulated. Anyone can use it. So your job is to separate the real senior operators from the freelancers wearing the label. Here are the questions to do that. First, walk me through a company like mine that you've taken from where I am to where I want to go. You're listening for specific owned outcomes, real numbers, real accountability, not a vague list of activities. Second, what is your niche and who is this not a fit for? A real fractional CMO has a sharp focus and is comfortable telling you who they don't serve. A generalist who claims to help everyone, that's a yellow flag. Third, what would the first 90 days actually look like? A strong answer leads with diagnosis, understanding your business before changing things. If they want to jump straight into campaigns on day one, that's a doer and not a leader. And fourth, the most important, what will you own and what number are you accountable for? A real fractional CMO will tie themselves to a business outcome. If the entire answer is activity, well, I'll manage your channels, I'll run your campaigns with no ownership of a result, you've found a contractor and not an executive. And the one vetting most people skip, talk to a past client. Ask them to connect you with a founder they've worked with. Then ask that founder one thing. Did they own the outcome or did they just do tasks? 30 minutes on a reference calls tells you more than any polished pitch. Step 3, how to structure the engagement so it's set up to win. Get 3 things right. 1, scope. Be crystal clear about what they own and what they don't. Are they owning the entire marketing function? Or one specific outcome like building your demand generation engine. Ambiguity here is the #1 cause of a fractional engagement going sideways. Define it up front in writing. Second, the commercial structure. A real fractional CMO works on a monthly retainer, not hourly. If you're buying senior leadership and outcomes, not metered times. So if someone's quoting purely by the hour and watching the clock, you want to treat that like a red flag. The retainer should map to a clear scope, clear outcome, and a clear cadence, like a day or 2 a week. Third, expectations and accountability. Agree on what success looks like and when it gets measured. The standard is a clear written strategy within the first 30 to 60 days and real measurable outcomes that you can hold them to by the end of the first quarter. Put this all in a simple agreement, a scope, a retainer, and the outcomes right before anyone even starts. And a couple of contract notes. You're typically going to sign a services agreement not an employment offer. A fractional CMO is a vendor. They are a 1099, not a W-2 hire, and include a clear notice period so either side can exit cleanly. That flexibility is part of what makes fractional lower risk than a full-time hire. Let me give you a simple vetting scorecard for your calls. Run every candidate against 5 checks. 1, owned outcomes, specific results that they're accountable for with clear numbers. 2, a clear niche, a sharp focus, and will they tell you who they are not serving? 3, strategy first. Does their first 90 days lead with diagnosis and not tactics? What about being accountable to a number? Will they tie themselves to a business outcome, not just activity? And retainer, not hourly. Pricing senior leadership or metering their time. A genuine fractional CMO clears all of them comfortably. If a candidate is missing 2 or more, especially the last 2, you're probably looking at a freelancer or consultant with an inflated title, and you should probably keep looking. Make sure you bring this to every call, because what this will do is it will turn a gut feel conversation into a clear, repeatable decision. And don't feel awkward about asking for this rigor. A genuine senior fractional CMO will respect it because it signals you're a serious client. The ones who bristle at being vetted are usually the ones who most need to be. So now you've hired one, how does a fractional CMO actually work week to week? This is the part most people are unsure of, so let me make it concrete. It starts with a diagnostic phase. In the first few weeks, expect them to be learning, not launching. Auditing what you have, talking to your team and your customers, digging into your numbers. You're paying during this phase, and that's correct. They then build and present the strategy and roadmap. From there, they move into a steady operating rhythm, typically 1 day or 2 days a week, or 2 to 4 hours a day, leading your existing team, directing any freelancers or agencies, sitting in your leadership meetings, and reporting on the metrics that matter. They're embedded, a company email, in your Slack, a real part of your leadership team, just part-time. The relationship is usually ongoing rather than a one-off project because marketing leadership, it compounds. The longer they steer, the better it gets. But here's what's expected of you because it's a two-way street. Give them genuine access and authority. Loop them into leadership conversations. Let them lead your marketing people and resist the urge to override every call. The companies that get the most from a fractional CMO treat them like the executive they've hired, not a consultant whose advice is optional. A part-time leader that you won't let lead is just an expensive option. So let's bring this all together. Hiring a fractional CMO comes down to 4 things. Find them through referrals, vetted, networks, and targeted LinkedIn search, not a job posting. Vet them hard, focusing above all on whether or not they're going to own an actual outcome. Structure the engagement with a clear scope, a retainer, agreed expectations in writing before anyone starts. And understand how it runs. Diagnose, then strategy, then the steady weekly rhythm. The whole process is really one filter applied over and over. Are you hiring a leader who owns an outcome? Are you hiring a contractor who does tasks? Keep that in front of you, and very soon you will be hard to fool. Now, one thing to keep in mind, a great fractional CMO will be evaluating you just as much as you are evaluating them, because the best ones are selective. So it helps to walk in clear on exactly what you need and what a great fit looks like. If you want the full picture of what a fractional CMO actually does day to day, so you'll know precisely what you're hiring for, watch this video next. What does a fractional CMO do? Go watch that one next, and you will be able to run this process with confidence.